I've slept with both of my best friends, and my boyfriend of 4 years is uncomfortable with that. Let me start right off with the problem. My two best friends in the world are male, and I've slept with both of them. It's not as bad as it seems, though. It's not like I have feelings for either of them. They're both childhood friends whom I've known for years and years, so I love them both with all of my heart, but the thought of being in a relationship with either of them is unfathomable. One of them we'll call Rob. Is married now, but we had a brief relationship senior year of high school. We broke up after less than a year for several reasons. I wanted to travel abroad for university, he wanted kids, and I didn't. His mother didn't think I was a good fit for him, but we still remained friends. The other, we'll call him John, is a bit more complicated. I would never date him because he has serious issues. And it's not so much the issues that stop me from dating him, but the fact that he adamantly refuses any kind of help or therapy for them. He had some major childhood trauma that he's big time repressing, and it's affected his ability to have a relationship. He's a bit of a womanizer. After I got back from university abroad, I was 23 and all alone, and I needed a place to live. His parents had moved out to a condo on the beach, and they let John live in their old house. And he offered me one of the spare bedrooms for very low rent. So we lived together for a while without incident. I dated a guy for like 2 years, and John had a constant stream of women in and out of his bedroom. But we discovered a system that worked for us, and we became closer than ever. The problem was one night about a year after I broke up with my ex, we hung out in the house alone and got drunk together. We were both super horny and hooked up, and we had amazing sex. Like really mind-blowing. I don't know if it was because I was drunk or because I'd only slept with 2 other people in my life who were both subpar. Rob and I were virgins, and we only had sex like twice before we broke up, and one of the main reasons I split with my other ex was sexual incompatibility, but either way it was great and we didn't want to stop. So we kept hooking up for about 8 months. At that point, one of his old exes came back into his life, and he realized he had feelings for her. We tried to stop hooking up, but quite frankly, we have no self-control. I realized I was 29 and had a steady job, and there was no reason I should move out. So I left. We had one last night of sex the day before I moved out, and agreed to never talk about it again. Part 2. The boyfriend. You can skip this section, I suppose. It just talks about how my boyfriend and I got together, and outlines some of his insecurities, and why this may be a problem for him. Sam had been a long-time coworker of mine. We started working together when I got my job at 26. He was 29 and getting divorced. He told me all about it as it was happening. He and his wife got married way too fast. She had just broken up with her ex, and 5 months into dating Sam, she discovered she was pregnant with her ex's child. She pressured Sam into marriage because she didn't want to be a single mom, and he agreed. You can imagine why this didn't work out. Anyway, Sam and I became best friends in the workplace. He would tell me stories about his divorce, and I would tell him embarrassing childhood stories about Rob and John. Oh yeah, didn't I mention? We all work together. Rob and John are in different departments, but it's a pretty close-knit company. So he knew I had dated Rob in high school, but he never knew about me hooking up with John. When I told him I was moving out of John's house, he asked me why, and I just said that we were getting older, and it was time for me to get my own place. That just happened to be the day that he confessed his longtime feelings for me, and we began to date. Part 3. The problem. About half a year ago, we decided to move in together. His lease was ending and I own my house, so he moved into my place. He sometimes works really late nights, and on occasion I'll have Rob or John over to keep me company when he does. Last night, he was meant to be working until 11 p.m. John was here, and we were hanging out in the living room. It was about 10:30 p.m. and we were drinking a bit and talking kind of loudly. John mentioned to me that his girlfriend was always jealous, worried that he and I had feelings for each other. I said that was silly, and that just because 2 people have great sex doesn't mean they're in love. As I said, we were talking pretty loudly, so I guess Sam came in at some point and heard me say that. I didn't even hear him unlock the front door. But he stormed into the living room and confronted me, asking when John and I had sex. He looked equal parts disappointed and angry. John left because he didn't want to be involved in our argument. I explained everything, told him John and I used to hook up when we lived together, and that was part of the reason I moved out of his place, because it wasn't healthy for us to have that kind of relationship. It had been 4 years, and we rarely ever spoke about it, and it hasn't affected our friendship at all. Sam now tells me he's uncomfortable with the fact that I've slept with both of the people I consider my best friends in the world. He's also uncomfortable with the fact that, just a few days before he and I got together, I had sex with John. He says it taints our entire relationship because I lied to him about it. I think he's being a bit puritanical about it. Of course I have a sexual past, and why does it matter if it was only a few days before, since it didn't mean anything? It's not like I had feelings for John. And we always used protection and frequently got tested, and I told Sam that, so it's not like he's concerned about the health risks. He's just jealous. And he wants me to hang out with John less, and he doesn't feel comfortable with us drinking together at all. He also insists I should make new friends and separate myself a bit from Rob and John, because it's weird that both of the people I'm closest with are people who have seen me naked. I think he's being entirely unreasonable. John and I are both in relationships, and we have no feelings for each other whatsoever. The fact that we hooked up with each other for a while is something we want to leave in the past. And to bring Rob into it is just ridiculous. It's been 15 years since we had anything to do with each other romantically, and he's now married with kids. I think Sam just wants to punish me or something because he's weirdly jealous. I honestly don't know what to make of this situation. TLDR, Rob and John, my 2 best friends in the world, are male, and I've slept with both of them. I was with Rob like 15 years ago and we broke up. John and I had a FWB situation, and the last time we hooked up was a few days before I started dating my current boyfriend, Sam. Sam just found out about John and thinks it's weird that I'm still so close with people I've had sex with. Is he in the right? Should I reduce my contact with Rob and John and try to make new friends? Or is Sam just being unreasonable? Relevant comments. You want to see his point of view? Switch your positions. Put yourself in his shoes. He's got 2 best friends who happen to be female that he also used to sleep with. Now, one night you come home from work, Sam is hanging out with one of them, and you hear them mention how they had great sex. Go on, please, tell me how you react to this knowledge. Is he unreasonable in terms of Rob? Yes, the man is married now. Is he unreasonable about John? No, not really. Are these two your only friends, or do you simply hang out with them the most out of everyone? OP, I mean, I do have other friends obviously, but we went to school together, and we've been friends for almost our entire lives. But I guess I see where he's coming from with John. I just got so caught up in the fact that he was bringing Rob into it too that I couldn't take him seriously. But when you put it like that, it's pretty common though that none of us want our SOs to hang out with former lovers, let alone invite them to our shared living space, and then have drinks with them in the evening. Sam's issue isn't with the fact that you slept with other people before him, but that you kept these two people in your life so far, and continue to involve them in the life that you share with Sam. I think you've been around Rob and John for far too long that you've simply made them a part of your routine life, so Sam's issue with them might seem unreasonable to you when it isn't. The question now is whether you're going to do anything about it. OP, that makes sense. I think some part of me was just hoping that since Sam likes both of the guys and is friends with them too, and we've been together for so long that it wouldn't be a big deal to him. But I understand why it is. At a minimum, I need to stop drinking with John and inviting him over late at night. Best comment Ralph Lobster, let's write this from his position. Hey everyone. I am in a bit of a situation with my girlfriend. She has two best friends who hang out all the time. Now normally I am not jealous, but this situation just keeps throwing up red flags. I will skip the long introduction and get right to the situation currently at hand. I occasionally work late. My job can be demanding and my girlfriend doesn't really like to be home alone. I understand that, and she normally calls over one of her two friends. I always thought it was nice that they found time to hang out because it can be hard to keep friends after marrying. However, I came home last night, and before I shut the door, I heard a drunken conversation. John stated that his wife was jealous of them, and my wife mentioned how they had good sex, but his wife didn't need to worry. Needless to say, I rushed in and tried to figure out what the hell was going on. I questioned them, and apparently they have a past together, which I did not know about. Not only that, but apparently it stopped barely before we got together. Everything about this situation makes me feel like I am not getting the full truth. Why didn't she tell me she had sex with this man who is constantly over? Is this the type of thing they talk about on a normal basis? If she had told me before, I imagine it would have been less of a shock. But I keep thinking that she hid this from me because she knew she was doing something wrong or that I might not like it. I'm pretty furious right now. She could be cheating on me every time he is over and I would have no clue because I have always assumed she was telling me the whole truth. What do? I don't want to throw this away, but I can't help but think there is something else going on. As for me, I think you fucked up. You lied by omission and spent time with the person you lied about. Of course, he feels like the relationship is tainted. He has had 100% trust in you and your actions, and now he is seeing that for 4 years he has been lied to. It retroactively makes him reassess every single situation where you and John were alone together. At a minimum, you need to scale back for the time being and stop spending so much late night alone time with him. Update, I know it's over a year later, and probably no one remembers this post. But I will never forget it because hearing from all you Redditors changed my life and saved my relationship. So if there's anyone here who read my last post, you deserve to know that you were right. After reading all the comments on the last post, I realized that Sam was not overreacting at all and would have been more than reasonable to break up with me because of this. I showed him my post, and we had a long discussion in which I promised I would never hang out with Rob or John alone again. I told him I loved him so much and he was the most important person in my life, and I would do anything to gain his trust back, even if he wanted me to stop seeing my friends altogether. He said that wasn't necessary, and he didn't mind if I saw them alone occasionally, just he would prefer if it were in public and not late at night or with alcohol involved. He felt sorry for being judgmental of me, but I told him that he was completely right and my relationship with John was inappropriate. I just needed something like this to make me see it. So we moved past it fairly easily and are actually now married. It was a courthouse wedding on our 5th anniversary, very lovely. Now here's the part where everyone was right. After my conversation with Sam, John and I drifted apart a bit. I still hung out with Rob and his wife, but John broke up with his girlfriend, and I no longer felt comfortable being with him alone. So he and I would hang out with Rob, but that happened maybe once or twice a month, where before we would see each other a few times a week. Then last Thanksgiving when Sam and I announced we were getting married, John actually left dinner early. He replied shortly to all my messages, didn't return my calls, and barely spoke to me. I didn't see him again until my wedding in December. You can guess where this is going. Thankfully nothing happened at the wedding. It was a small ceremony, just our families, a couple of Sam's friends, Rob, his wife, and John. We went out to a restaurant for a reception dinner, and John seemed withdrawn the entire time. I guessed he was not happy that I was married. So since Sam and I got back from our honeymoon in January, I have seen John maybe twice. Once for Easter, and again for Rob's birthday. I've tried to say hi at work, but he always makes an excuse and walks away. He didn't even come to Sam's birthday last month. After that I decided that I would stop trying to reach out to him, and he could talk to me when he was ready. Last week he was finally ready. Sam was offered an opportunity to travel abroad for 8 months with his job, with me invited to come along. We decided to accept it, and I suppose John saw Sam's Facebook post about it, because the next day John sought me out at work. He asked me if I was really leaving the country for 8 months, and when I said yes, he asked why I couldn't stay. Asked why he cared if I stayed when we hadn't really spoken in months. He said, "I'm sorry, never mind," and walked away, but at that point it was clearer than ever what was really going on. So Sam and I are leaving in September. His job will still be waiting for him when he gets back, but I have decided to find a new one. I'm glad that I'll be out of the country for a bit. I feel really stupid to not have realized that John could have feelings for me. There's never been anything there on my end, so I just assumed it was the same for him since we were able to be roommates and FWB. It seems obvious now. Everyone who commented on my last post was spot on about our relationship not being normal, and I am so glad that Reddit was able to see what I wasn't. I am so deliriously happy in love with my husband. I don't even want to think about what would have happened had I not posted here. So thank you all again, and I hope this update is in some way satisfying. TLDR, John had feelings for me for God knows how long. I was adult for not seeing it. I don't really spend time with him anymore because I'm now married and I am extremely grateful to this sub for opening my eyes and probably saving my relationship.